Gentlemen, let me ask you something personal. Have you ever noticed your energy fading faster than it used to? Or found yourself frustrated that your body just doesn't respond the way it once did? You tell yourself it's just age, but deep down you wonder, what if something else is quietly stealing my strength? Here's the urgent truth most men never hear. There are certain nuts you've been told are healthy snacks you may eat almost every day, believing they protect your heart and fuel your body. But the shocking reality is this: some of those very same nuts are secretly wrecking your circulation, lowering your testosterone, and destroying your erections in ways that get worse every year you get older. And the most dangerous part, you won't see it coming until the damage is already done. My name is Dr. Mark Ellis. I'm a urologist and men's health specialist, and for over 30 years, I've been helping men over 60 protect their prostate, restore their vitality, and reclaim the confidence they thought was gone forever. And I can tell you with absolute certainty, what you put in your mouth every day can determine whether you live with energy and strength, or whether you slowly fade into weakness, frustration, and decline. But here's the good news. In this video, I'll reveal the 4 nuts you should never touch if you want to protect your erections, your heart, and your energy, along with 4 powerful nuts you must eat instead. These simple, natural choices can reignite your blood flow, restore your testosterone, and bring back the vitality you thought you had lost for good. And trust me, the last nut on my list is almost unknown, yet it may be the single most powerful weapon against aging that you'll ever discover. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share could very well change the next decade of your life. Let's start with the nut almost every man in America has eaten since childhood: peanuts. Cheap, salty, roasted, packed into peanut butter sandwiches, it feels like a staple of daily life. But here's the problem. Peanuts aren't even real nuts. They're legumes. And for men over 60, this so-called harmless snack can quietly become one of the most destructive foods in your pantry. I still remember a patient in his late 60s who came to me feeling drained, frustrated, and ashamed of his failing erections. He thought it was just age catching up with him. But when we dug deeper into his habits, the hidden culprit was obvious. He was eating peanuts by the handful every single night, believing they were heart healthy. Science tells a different story. Peanuts are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. In small doses, omega-6 is fine, but when it builds up, it fuels silent inflammation inside your blood vessels. Imagine your arteries as flexible garden hoses. When they're healthy, blood flows freely. But when inflammation takes over, those hoses stiffen and narrow. Erections are nothing more than a blood flow event, and without smooth circulation, no pill or desire can make up the difference. It doesn't stop there. Most peanuts are roasted in cheap oils that worsen inflammation, then drowned in salt that drives blood pressure higher. For men already battling hypertension, every handful is like twisting the pressure valve tighter, straining the very arteries that supply blood to the penis. And if that wasn't enough, peanuts carry another hidden danger: aflatoxins, toxic molds that can damage your liver and accelerate aging. I've seen too many men walk into my office proud of their healthy snacking, only to sit across from me wondering why their waistline is expanding, their energy is fading, and their erections no longer hold firm. The truth is simple. It's not just what you eat, it's which nut you choose. But just knowing this isn't enough, because the next nut is far trickier. It looks elegant, it tastes creamy, and many men believe it's the smartest choice for their heart. Yet for seniors, it can quietly sabotage your prostate, your waistline, and your testosterone levels all at once. And that nut is coming up next. Now let's talk about cashews, the creamy sweet nut you often see in fancy bowls at parties or tucked into trail mixes. They look elegant, taste indulgent, and most men think they're a smart, heart-healthy snack. But for seniors, cashews can quietly turn into a dangerous trap. I remember one man in his late 60s who came to me exhausted with stubborn belly fat and endless nighttime bathroom trips. He was convinced his prostate was failing, but when we reviewed his habits, the truth stunned him. Every evening he would sit down with a big handful of cashews, believing they were doing his body good. What he didn't realize is that this healthy ritual was undermining his energy, his hormones, and even his erections. Here's why. Cashews are unusually high in oxalates, natural compounds that combine with calcium to form kidney stones. If you've ever known someone suffering from stones, you know the pain is excruciating. And for older men, the urinary system is already working harder than it should. Adding more oxalates is like pouring salt on a wound. Cashews also contain more carbohydrates than most other nuts. That means faster blood sugar spikes, more insulin surges, and eventually insulin resistance. And here's the kicker, insulin resistance isn't just about diabetes. It chips away at testosterone, the very hormone that fuels energy drive and sexual performance. Add in the calorie density of cashews, and you get a perfect storm for stubborn belly fat, lower testosterone, and declining erections. Many men get caught in this vicious cycle, more weight around the waistline, lower testosterone, and the lower it goes, the harder it becomes to lose the fat. It's a downward spiral hidden behind a seemingly harmless snack. So if peanuts silently inflame your blood vessels, cashews quietly squeeze your hormones and your urinary system at the same time. But the real shock comes next, because the next nut isn't cheap or ordinary, it's rich, buttery, and often marketed as a gourmet indulgence. Yet what it's really doing is clogging your arteries and choking off circulation right where you need it most. And that's what we'll uncover now. Now we come to the nut that feels like pure luxury macadamias. With their buttery taste and silky texture, they've earned a reputation as the crown jewel of gourmet snacks. Many men treat themselves to a small bowl of macadamias alongside a glass of wine at night, believing they're indulging in something both delicious and healthy. But beneath that smooth flavor lies a danger most men never expect. I'll never forget a gentleman in his early 70s who told me about his evening ritual, wine macadamias, and a sense of pride that he was making a smart choice for his heart. Yet over the months, his body began to change. His walks left him short of breath, his legs felt heavier, and intimacy, once reliable, grew weaker and slower to respond. When I checked his blood work, the story was written in his arteries, cholesterol creeping higher, early stiffness setting in circulation, slowing down. Here's the hidden truth. Macadamias are loaded with saturated fat. Yes, our bodies need some, but too much can clog arteries, especially the tiny vessels in the penis. Erections depend on a rapid surge of blood flow. When those small pipes, narrow desire alone, can't overcome the physical barrier. The result, softer erections, less stamina, and growing frustration. And that's not the only problem. Just a small handful of macadamias carries a surprising calorie punch. Seniors who snack on them daily often find their waistline expanding without realizing why. Belly fat isn't just cosmetic, it's metabolically active, lowering testosterone, worsening insulin resistance, and accelerating decline. I've seen the disappointment in men's eyes when they realize their healthy treat is secretly undermining the very vitality they're fighting to preserve. Occasional macadamias won't ruin you, but turning them into a daily habit is like pouring cement into your arteries, one spoonful at a time. So far, we've seen how peanuts inflame your vessels, cashews overload your system, and macadamias clog your circulation. But there's still one more nut in the danger zone, and it may be the most deceptive of all. Because while it's packed with a mineral essential for male health eating, too much can literally poison your body, strip away your energy, and even sabotage your erections. That nut is coming up next, and trust me, you'll want to hear this one. At first glance, Brazil nuts seem like the ultimate superfood for men. They're large, rich, and loaded with selenium, a mineral your body needs for testosterone fertility and powerful antioxidant protection. In fact, many men hear about selenium and think, if a little helps a lot, must be even better. But here's the harsh truth. Brazil nuts are one of the easiest ways to overdose on this mineral, and the consequences can be devastating. I once treated a man in his mid-60s who walked into my office with constant fatigue, brittle nails, and a strange metallic taste in his mouth. He thought these were random signs of aging, but when we reviewed his daily routine, the answer was clear. Every morning, without fail, he was eating a handful of Brazil nuts because someone told him they would boost his manhood. Instead of fueling his vitality, he was slowly poisoning himself. You see, Brazil nuts contain more selenium per ounce than almost any other food on earth. The daily requirement for selenium is tiny. Just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a few times a week is enough. Once you cross that line, selenium levels skyrocket and toxicity begins. Symptoms include hair loss, nail problems, digestive upset, nerve issues, relentless fatigue, and yes, erectile dysfunction. The very nutrient that's supposed to support virility becomes the one that steals it away. For older men, the risk is even higher. As we age, our bodies lose efficiency in processing and clearing out excess minerals. What a younger man might tolerate can easily overwhelm a senior system. It's a classic case of how more is not better. I remind my patients that balance is everything. Brazil nuts in moderation can be beneficial, but in excess, they can strip away your strength and leave you confused about what went wrong. One or two a week can help. A handful every day can hurt. And this brings us to the other side of the story. We've looked at the nuts that inflame, overload, clog, and poison, but now comes the turning point. Because just as the wrong nuts can destroy your health, the right ones can restore it. The next nut may look plain and ordinary, but it holds the power to clean your arteries, boost your testosterone, and bring back the confidence you thought was gone. Let's talk about almonds. After hearing about the dangers of the wrong nuts, let's flip the script and talk about a nut that deserves a place in every man's diet: almonds. They may not look exotic or luxurious, but don't let their plain appearance fool you. Almonds are quiet powerhouses packed with nutrients that can literally keep your blood vessels young, your testosterone steady, and your confidence alive. I remember one patient in his early 70s who came to me feeling defeated. He lowered his voice and admitted he no longer felt like the man he once was. His energy was fading, intimacy was frustrating, and even his motivation in life seemed dull. Instead of rushing to prescriptions, I looked at his diet and suggested a small daily handful of almonds. At first he laughed. How could something so ordinary make a difference? But within weeks he noticed his energy felt steadier. His waistline began to shrink, and he confided to me later with a grin that intimacy at home had taken on a new spark. Here's the science. Almonds are rich in vitamin E, a potent antioxidant that shields the lining of your arteries from damage and keeps them flexible. Think of your arteries as highways when the lanes are open and smooth. Blood flows freely and erections depend entirely on that flow. Almonds also provide magnesium, which relaxes blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, and helps control blood sugar. That's critical because high blood pressure and diabetes are two of the biggest killers of male vitality. Unlike heavy snacks that leave you sluggish, almonds provide clean, steady energy. They lower bad cholesterol, raise good cholesterol, and even support testosterone by improving insulin sensitivity. When testosterone is stable, everything changes: your drive, your focus, your strength, and your performance in the bedroom. Almonds are not just food, they're an investment. Each handful is like putting money into the bank of your health, and the longer you stick with it, the more powerful the returns become. But almonds are only the beginning, because there's another nut that goes even further. It doesn't just protect blood vessels, it actively opens them wide. Packed with omega-3s, this nut boosts nitric oxide, the very molecule that tells your arteries to relax and deliver blood where you need it most. That nut is walnuts, and what they can do for your circulation may surprise you. If almonds are the steady workhorse of men's health, walnuts are the secret weapon. At first glance, they look a little rugged, even ordinary, but don't underestimate them. Walnuts are one of the most powerful foods you can eat for circulation, brain health, and especially for sexual performance. I once had a patient in his late 60s who had nearly given up hope. He told me, "Doctor, I've tried the diets, I've tried the pills, nothing works. I feel like my best years are gone." His voice carried the weight of years of disappointment. But when we looked at his nutrition, something was missing. He wasn't eating any omega-3 rich foods. I suggested a simple fix: add a handful of walnuts to his daily routine. Months later, he walked back into my office with a different energy. His cholesterol had improved, his weight had dropped, and with a mischievous grin, he admitted his marriage had taken on new life. Here's why. Walnuts are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, the healthy fats that your body uses to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the green light that tells your blood vessels to open up. Without it, circulation slows, arteries stiffen, and erections become weaker. With it, blood flows freely, stamina returns, and your body feels years younger. Science backs this up. Studies show men who eat walnuts regularly enjoy better sperm quality, improve vascular health, and firmer erections. And walnuts don't just help in the bedroom. They also lower bad cholesterol, raise good cholesterol, protect the heart, and sharpen brain function. That means stronger performance in every aspect of life, from climbing stairs without gasping to remembering names to reconnecting with your partner. What I love about walnuts is that they're simple, affordable, and require no fancy recipes. Just a handful a day can change the way your body feels and functions. But if walnuts restore blood flow, the next nut takes things a step further. In fact, clinical research shows it can improve erectile function in just 3 weeks, almost like a natural prescription, but without the side effects. That nut is pistachios, and the results men experience with them are nothing short of remarkable. If there's one nut that surprises nearly every man I talk to, it's pistachios. Most people think of them as a light snack to crack open while watching TV, never realizing how powerful they truly are. But the truth is, pistachios can be one of the fastest ways to revive male performance and restore confidence. I remember a man in his early 70s who came to see me after years of quiet frustration. He told me intimacy had become nearly impossible, not because the love was gone, but because his body simply wouldn't cooperate. He had tried pills, he had tried exercises, but nothing lasted. Then I asked him about his diet and he shrugged. I don't snack much, just peanuts sometimes. That's when I told him about pistachios. Within weeks of making the switch, he returned with a spark in his eye, telling me that not only had his energy come back, but his marriage felt alive again. The science behind this is extraordinary. Pistachios are rich in arginine, an amino acid your body uses to produce nitric oxide. As you know, nitric oxide is the master switch for erections. It signals blood vessels to relax and expand, allowing strong blood flow exactly where you need it. In fact, one clinical study found that men who ate pistachios every day for just 3 weeks saw significant improvements in erection, firmness, satisfaction, and overall performance. Imagine that 3 weeks of a simple snack doing what years of medication often fail to achieve. And pistachios don't stop at circulation. They also lower bad cholesterol, raise good cholesterol, reduce blood pressure, and fight inflammation. That means they're working around the clock, not just in the bedroom, but in your heart, your arteries, and your overall vitality. Patients often tell me, "Doctor, I didn't just get my erections back, I got my life back." And that's why pistachios are one of my favorite recommendations for men over 60. But while pistachios deliver quick results, the final nut we'll cover today is the quiet underdog, often overlooked, hidden in the background, but packed with antioxidants and hormone-supporting compounds that can steady your energy, calm inflammation, and give you the confidence you deserve. That nut is hazelnuts, and it may just be the unsung hero of men's health. Now let's talk about a nut that rarely gets the spotlight, but deserves a place on every man's table: hazelnuts. Most people think of them only when they're blended into chocolate spreads or holiday desserts. But on their own, hazelnuts are packed with nutrients that can quietly transform your circulation, your hormones, and your confidence. One of my patients, a man in his mid-60s, once told me he felt invisible. He said, "Doctor, I exercise, I try to eat well, but my energy is flat, and intimacy just isn't the same." He had already added almonds and walnuts, but still felt something missing. When we introduced hazelnuts into his daily routine, the change was surprising. Within a few weeks, he reported feeling sharper, lighter on his feet, and more present with his wife. Sometimes the smallest adjustment makes the biggest difference. Here's why hazelnuts matter. They're loaded with vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that keeps your blood vessels elastic and resilient. Flexible arteries mean stronger blood flow, and stronger blood flow means firmer, more reliable erections. Hazelnuts also fight inflammation, the hidden enemy of testosterone. By calming inflammation, they create an environment where your hormones can function properly, giving you more energy, focus, and drive. Unlike cashews, which spike blood sugar, hazelnuts release their energy, slowly keeping you steady throughout the day. They also lower bad cholesterol and raise the good, protecting your heart while fueling your vitality. In short, hazelnuts are the quiet ally most men overlook, yet they deliver results that speak loudly in both health and confidence. When you bring hazelnuts together with almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, you create a team of natural allies that can protect your circulation, strengthen your hormones, and breathe new life into your body. But just knowing which nuts to eat and which to avoid is only part of the story. Because the real message here isn't just about food, it's about power control and the choices you make every single day. And in the conclusion, I'll show you exactly how these small decisions can shape not just your health, but your future. Gentlemen, remember this: your health is never out of your hands. Every small choice you make, even something as simple as which nuts you snack on, can either weaken your body or strengthen it. You've worked hard your whole life. You deserve to enjoy those years with energy, confidence, and kidneys that keep you strong and independent. If you found today's lesson helpful, I encourage you to save this video so you can revisit it anytime, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you'll never miss the latest medical insights, practical nutrition tips, and life-changing advice designed especially to protect your kidneys and your overall health. And here's the hopeful truth I want you to carry with you. Aging doesn't have to mean decline. By choosing wisely, staying informed, and taking small but consistent steps each day, you can restore balance to your body, protect your kidneys, and live the years ahead with vitality and peace of mind. The best chapter of your health story can still be written starting right now.